G'day guys, in this video I'm just going to show you how to flash the Arduino code to the boards here using the Arduino IDE for the K2 or ACE RFID projects. Obviously, to use this project you need to have an RC522 NFC reader writer board and some form of Arduino board. This needs to be a board with a Wi-Fi chip on it, so like an ESP32 or an ESP8266 or a Raspberry Pi Pico W. They're the three code variants I've got up there so far. It needs to have a Wi-Fi access point or a chip so you can communicate with it using a web interface. Something like a Nano, if it doesn't have Wi-Fi it won't work. Leonardo's, all the other types of boards, if it doesn't have Wi-Fi it's not going to work for this project. So in this project I'm just going to work with the ESP32, and of course what you want to do is make sure you've got your GPIO all connected. In the GitHub code I've got GPIO points to connect to the board. So one side of it's going to be the RC522 and the other side will be the board. You need to pretty much look up the pinout for your board type because not all of these boards are the same. So you need to look where the GPIO points are on the board and look at which code variant you're using and put the GPIOs in the correct spot that marries up with the board here. So you need to sort that out before you try and write tags and do anything. You can Google search how to connect this board, the RC522, to whatever board you're using, and you might be able to see if there's a difference in the GPIO pinouts, but it should be pretty much set how it is. So once you've got that sorted out, you can move on to connecting the board and flashing it. So I've just got the board here, and of course you want to plug it into your computer. So it's all ready to go, connected, and then we can move on to flashing the code. Alright, we need to start off by downloading the Arduino IDE. So you just go to Google and type in Arduino IDE and hit Google search. You come up to the top here, just click on that. Now you get two different versions of the Arduino IDE. You get version 2.0. We don't want that because you're just flashing the code here. You're not programming or coding, so we don't want this one. Just scroll on down till you get to the legacy, which is 1.8 here, and then download whichever flavor you've got. If you're on Windows, just click Win 7 and newer, click that and download it. And you click just download and just download again, and then it'll download. While that's downloading, you can come back to the GitHub, choose whichever flavor of RFID that you're going to install, whether it's the CFS or the ACE. We'll just go ACE for now. Then come here and click the code and then download zip. So now you have the installer and the code, so obviously you just double click that. You don't really need to know how to install something. I've already got it installed, but just install it. And then you got the code here, so we'll just extract that. And then we've got the code in here, so we go in, go to Arduino, select the board that you're using. I'm just using an ESP32 here, so we'll go into there, and just looking for the INO file. Just double click on that. Okay, now we're in here. We want to make sure that you got your board library installed. So you go to Tools, and then come on down to Board, and then over to Boards Manager. Click on that. Okay, depending on the type of board that you've got, whether you've got an 8266 or a Pi Pico or an ESP32, you're just going to type in the name of the board and search for it. So here we're just going to go ESP32. And then we'll get the one by Expressive Systems here, not the top one. So we'll get that. And here you just click, it'll be an install button. I've already got it installed, but there'll be an install button here. You just click it and then let that install. And then once that installs, you can go back over to the code, and then you go back to Tools, and then come on down to Board. So what you want to do is go over to ESP32 if you're using this type of board, and then select your board in here. So I'm using an ESP32 original dev module. If you've got an S2 or an S3, you can select S2 there or S3, but just make sure you get your right board. And once you've selected your board, you come back to Tools and then go to your port here, and you're looking to set the COM port that the board's plugged into. So you may have multiple COM ports on your board, on your computer, but you just want to find the one your board's connected to. I've only got one, so it's COM3. Okay, now before we worry about flashing any code, if you want to hard code your home network's SSID and Wi-Fi password, you can do that here. You can put the SSID there. So you put it in between the quotes here, and then you can go to the password and put your password in between the quotes there. And then when you flash the code, it should automatically connect to that Wi-Fi address. If it doesn't, then you have to use a mobile phone or something to connect to the board, which will be broadcasting a Wi-Fi access point, and the access point's SSID will be ACE RFID or K2 RFID if you're using the K2 setup, and then the password's just password. And then when you want to go to the web address, you go to ace.local or k2.local. So that'll be http://ace.local, and that should take you to the web page for the board. But for now, all we do is we want to come up to this arrow here, verify, and we'll just click on that to verify that there's no errors, and make sure the code's all good, and then we'll wait till that's finished, and then we'll go to flashing. Okay, now it's verified that the code's worked, so you got sketch users, whatever. This is just telling you that it's compiled the code, so it's all good. So now you want to come up here to upload, which is the arrow, and you just click that to flash it to the board. What this will do is it'll write the code to the board. Okay, now it says leaving, hard resetting. That just means it's resetting the board and it's written the code to the board. So now you should be able to connect to the board. If you've set your Wi-Fi SSID and password, you should be able to connect to it. So you'll be able to go to the board here via ace.local or k2.local, depending on which code you're using. And then in here you can select your filaments and stuff just like the other video. So select your color and just hit apply, and then you'll be able to flash to a tag. Okay, now we're back over at the board here, and you should just be able to get a tag and tap it, and then it'll write to it. And that's pretty much how you do the Arduino code.